Hello everyone. I just wanted to do a quick video about a recent discovery, a recent glitch that was discovered in Tears of the Kingdom and its implications for 100%. So if you're unfamiliar with zuggling, I'll just show a quick example of it now. I only have one of these swords in my inventory and I need a second one for what I want to do. So I'm gonna hold it out like this, which is not required, but for the demonstration, go to the map rune and then press D-pad right to bring up my weapon menu before the map opens. I'm gonna drop the weapon, equip a different weapon, and then drop it. So now I'll equip this one just to make it easier to see, but you'll see that I have the sword that I started with stuck to my hand now. I also have another weapon equipped that's now stuck to my back. So now if I drop the weapon I have equipped, it drops both of these. Now I can pick up the second Master Sword. So I'm going to drop this just so both of these will be in the back of my inventory to make what I want to do a little bit easier. But yeah, that's what zuggling is. And so that's used for a handful of different things in 100%. Obviously, there's a lot of bosses you need to fight. And every time you zuggle a sword to your hand, the damage of it stacks. So we're able to zuggle a bunch of things at once and just be able to smack bosses a couple times to get rid of them. But probably the more important thing that it's used for is for overloading. So if I place a steering stick like this, and then if I have a certain amount of swords zuggled, and then hold out my bow so that the arrow loads in, when Link boards the steering stick, he'll clip through the ground. So obviously zuggle is very important both for bosses, and clipping strategies have only saved more and more time as the route has developed further and further. But zuggling has a problem. So our most common way of getting around in the world involves setting up Pocket Rocket, which requires us to fuse a rocket to our weapon. And so when you're zuggled, all the weapons that you have zuggled are also going to take the rocket fuse. So say I have this boulder here on this weapon and I zuggle it. And then I fuse this rocket. That boulder that was on the weapon is now gone. So that presents a problem because having a two-handed weapon with a boulder on it is used to do Korok puzzles that involve putting a rock in a specific place a little bit faster. But the more important problem is that normally when you're zuggling all these weapons, you're going to zuggle your pocket rocket weapon, and you're gonna have your pocket rocket weapon zuggled, you're gonna have the rock zuggled, you're also gonna have a bunch of these 81 damage, or not 81 specifically, but you're gonna have a bunch of these Master Swords zuggled as well. And so when your pocket rocket inevitably breaks, what's going to happen is that you have this rocket sword zuggled to you, and it's contributing towards you being overloaded. And so if you take out another weapon and try to fuse a rocket to it and then zuggle that weapon, well, now you're just going to be overloaded all the time. Because if you zuggle that weapon, now you have one too many, and that's going to cause issues like if you go to a Korok rock, one that you just need to pick up, and you try to pick it up, it can make it so the Korok doesn't load in, going into issues like that. So we've been trying to figure out a way to try to dodge this issue, make it so we can still zuggle the rocket sword without running into this issue of like having to drop every single other weapon that we've zuggled. And a recent discovery has made this issue much less of a problem. So I'm gonna demonstrate here. I'm gonna drop this just so I'll have both of these at the end of my inventory. But I'm gonna start with my back against the wall here. I'm going to equip this sword and then drop it, and then I'm gonna hold up. Now I'm going to unpause, pause, drop this sword, equip, and unequip. Now when I close the menu, you'll see that one of the swords fell to the ground. And you may not notice it at first, because I have the same sword equipped. But if I go to equip a different sword, you can see the Master Sword is zuggled there. But this zuggle works a little bit differently. This is called dynamic zuggle. So if I put the weapon away, it puts the weapon on my back. If I hold it out, it puts the weapon in my hand. So it works just like a normal weapon. Normally with zuggling, it's either permanently stuck to your back or in your hand, and depending on where it is, determines if it will contribute to your attack damage or not. But this one works a little bit differently. And so, I have one of these zuggled now. I'm going to zuggle up to the amount that we need to overload. So I did it once. That's twice. 3 times. 4 times. 5 times. 6. 7. 8. Okay, so I need 2 more weapons, and I'm saving that to be my rocket sword. I'm actually going to get rid... I'll just drop the stick here. Grab this rocket sword. And now I'm going to set up pocket rocket. So I'm going to fuse and tangle this to my shield. And then fuse the rocket to my sword. And then I'm going to map zuggle the rocket sword. So now we are fully set up. We have all the swords that we need stacked up here. We have our rocket weapon, so we're able to pocket rocket around. And if I counted correctly, then we should also be able to clip via overloading. If I can find where my steering sticks are. I'm gonna hold out my bow. Yep, and we're able to clip. So now here's the main thing that makes this zuggling method so good. First of all, you saw how quick the menuing was in order to do this zuggling in the first place. It's a good bit faster than having to wait on the map menu, go in here, drop something, bring it up again, map, pause. All of that gets replaced with just 2 quick pauses. But also the convenient thing about this is when your pocket rocket inevitably breaks and you burn through the shield, when you drop this weapon, all that's going to drop is the rock and the rocket sword. So that means next time you need to set up pocket rocket, all you have to do is just get a weapon. Let's see, I need to be on a shield that doesn't have a rocket. And do the correct inputs. So we have our rocket set up, we have our rock weapon. All we have to do is just one quick one quick map zuggle. And we're good to go again. All those swords, all those master swords that we stacked on top of each other are still there. Just as a quick example, I'll fly over to this Hinox so you can see the damage. The one thing that I think, it's not really a big deal, but you will get reduced damage because when you fuse, as I mentioned earlier, when you fuse to something, it will overwrite. For whatever weapons you have Zuggle, it'll overwrite whatever the fuse is. So currently all these master swords, their damage, it considers it as if there's a rocket fused to it. This is just a red Hinox here, so I think I should still be able to kill it in one shot. Maybe if I hit it directly. There we go. But yeah, you can swap either to one of these master swords if you want to, or you can use a spear. But yeah, doing it with a normal, just like any one-handed weapon is gonna make it so you can make sure that all the hits connect. But yeah, another nice thing about this is just that it's flexible, so like if you're coming up on a rock circle, you can just switch to this and just quickly be able to do it. Or if you want to have more damage output, you can swap to Master Sword. I also have a blunt fusion on this, so if there was a situation where I needed to hit some rocks out of the way, I could just quickly do that. And this is one that I see a little less commonly used, but you can also have a boulder fused to a spear and just swap to it and use it for these. They're a little bit finicky, but wow, this one's being real finicky. But yeah. So the things to watch out for with this method of zuggling, you're not just permanently stuck with these master swords in your hand. It does survive through loads, warps, and all of that, so in that regard, it works just as well. The way that you're going to get rid of them, you have two options. Because these master swords are badly damaged, if I throw this, it's also going to throw all the master swords, and they're also all going to break. So that's one way to get rid of them. The other way is to use any source of shock. So if I'll just use a shock emitter to show. So if I just get shocked, oh well, I didn't notice it was raining, but yeah. I was going to demonstrate that if you don't have the weapon held out and you get shocked, you'll be fine. Like you won't drop the weapons, but if you currently have a weapon ready to attack like this and you get shocked, that's when you'll drop it. Yeah, I think that's just about everything I had to show. Credit for this goes to, I think the original finder was Mulberry. This was iterated on by Zas. I think they both in tandem discovered Quick Drop Smuggle, and then Lidos was the one that found this specific application of the menuing to figure this out. I don't know if I ever mentioned the name, but this is called dynamic smuggling. But yeah, gonna end the video here. Thank you for watching.